Welcome back, everyone. We are the Sportsbudz. I am Tony Parlay. Joining me, as always, we have Nick Kerr and Chris Billings right up top here, sharing with you guys our wonderful insights and knowledge on this upcoming football season. Let's go ahead and start out with Chris Billings over there at Broncos training camp. How are you doing up there?
Oh, just wrapping up training camp here at the cursed Dove Valley that Tony thinks their field just injures players, apparently. So we just blame all the injuries on that. Anyways, doing great. Ready for football. Football week's here.
That's right. Stay safe. I'm glad to hear that you didn't get injured while I was asking that question. It's dangerous over there in Dove Valley. What's going on with Nick over here? How are you doing over here, Nick?
I'm doing good. Just got back from a few days in Vegas. Now ready for this football season to start.
That's right. That's what we like to hear. Ready for this football season to start.
Talk about getting primed for football season, like a little soft opening by going to Vegas.
Yeah. It was nice.
Soft opening there.
Yeah, it was nice having a nice first college football week. So
nice.
That's right. That's right. Give us the little appetizers. Give us the samples of what the real football is that we all want, and that's the NFL. Seen enough previews and predictions, award winners, all of that. We're going to share ours right here, and I'm going to start it out with MVP, and I'm going to let Nick tell us who he's got and why.
For MVP, I got Josh Allen winning MVP because each year he's just been getting better and better. And if he improves upon what he did last year, he's definitely going to be in that MVP talk.
You seen that firsthand? Have you guys ever beaten Josh Allen? Are you a little
Not the last few years. We may have one of those his first couple years when he wasn't playing so great, but after year 3, I know we definitely haven't beat him.
That's a good one. That's a solid one. I see these odds at plus 750. He is currently the favorite. I can see that. I'll let Billings tell me who he's got for MVP.
It's not going MVP if he splits with the Dolphins this year. I'll say that much. Mine, I'm going I think he's getting disrespected this year. Tony will probably cap off my thoughts a little bit here, but I'm going with Joe Burrow. I think he had an amazing year last year. He had an amazing year the year before that, but injuries kind of got in the way. Last year, he was healthy, able to ride it out, and look what happened. Ended up in the Super Bowl with an O-line that was basically like more leaky than a cauldron, and then basically had one receiver on that team. This offseason, they actually upgraded that O-line. Nobody's talking about that. So yeah, unless some injury happens or he just for some reason just decides to fall off a cliff this year, no, I expect an improvement in Joe Burrow. And if he's improving, he's an MVP.
Yeah, I would agree with much of that sentiment. Joe Burrow, he's that dude. He's that guy, and his receiving core is just nasty. Jamar Chase ascending into being a top receiver in the league. T. Higgins is still there. Joe Mixon, and like you said, they have upgraded the offensive line. My main concern with the Bengals was Zach Taylor, the head coach. I'm not that big a fan of him, but Joe Burrow just doesn't care. He's just going to audible at the line. His accuracy, he's as accurate as Tom Brady. The way that he puts the ball for these players to make plays once they get it is insane how accurate he is. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tail that pick. I think Joe Burrow does go ahead and win MVP this year. I do agree with that disrespect sentiment that's happening with him. It's like that Super Bowl run didn't even happen. It's Lamar Jackson talk. It's Josh Allen talk. It's Justin Herbert talk. And I'm like, oh, all right, I guess that didn't happen. Bengals making the Super Bowl the first time in 30 years, it didn't happen. No one cares.
And I also think that potentially is a chip on his shoulder this year as well, that he sees that of what? Justin Herbert's out there getting respect. Dude hasn't done anything. You guys are Kyler Murray got talked about more this offseason than Joe Burrow. So it's interesting to see. I think you'll see improvement out of him. So either way, I think that puts him in contention for MVP or Offensive Player of the Year easily.
Do you have any thoughts on Joe Burrow up there, Nick?
I mean, I don't disagree with you guys. He came off that surgery from his rookie year. He brought the Bengals to the Super Bowl last year. Why not be in the MVP talk this year? I have nothing wrong to say about that.
All right, all right. We'll move on to the Defensive Player of the Year award here, where I did some research and I came up with a wild card pick. I'm going with Derwin James of the Los Angeles Chargers. This is a wild pick. Let me tell you why. Because the odds of Derwin James and that entire Chargers defense staying healthy is like maybe 50%, maybe 50%. But if everyone is healthy on that defense, they will have like the best defense in football. It will be like by far the best defense in football. They're stacked at like every level of that defense. And Derwin James is just going to be that dude that makes all the plays, covering tight ends, going into the back. So that's an upside pick. That's why I'm picking Derwin James for Defensive Player of the Year. It is a dependent on that Chargers defense all staying healthy as a unit. That's my pick. I'll go ahead and let Nick tell me who his pick is first up here.
I'm gonna go with your guy in Cowboys. I'm gonna go with Michael Parsons. I think he's just gonna improve upon what he did on his Defensive Rookie of the Year campaign last year. I think with that that division that they're playing in, their only real competition is probably going to be the Eagles. And as we've said on previous ones, the NFC in total is down. So I think that he's going to continue to ascend to that all-pro player that he's going to eventually be. And I think he will challenge for Defensive Player of the Year this year.
Chris, your thoughts on the Defensive Player of the Year award?
So before I jump into that, same pick as Nick, by the way. But first, Tony, remind me of a conversation we had at the beginning of last year. You basically thought I was crazy of the talk I had about Micah Parsons.
Yes, I'll tell you guys. Chris Billings, future Super Scout, told me that Micah Parsons was drafted to be a pass rusher for the Cowboys. And I'm going to go ahead and dovetail that with this context. Micah Parsons had 0 pass rushing snaps in college at Penn State. He had never rushed the passer in college at Penn State. But Chris Billings, Super Scout up there, was like, they drafted him to be a pass rusher, let me tell you. And that's what he did. 13 sacks last year. I understand the Micah Parsons hype. But like my only question that I push back on it is like, how much better can that dude possibly get? Like, was he not like one of the 5 best players in football last season? Like, how much better could he possibly get?
And the reason I'm picking him is like he's gonna feast this year, and primarily it's gonna be because your division, your weak ass division, he is gonna feast on. He's gonna have 6 games where he's gonna just pad those stats for the most part, and he'll eat this year. No worries there.
Yeah, he'll probably get between 8 and 10 sacks with those 6 games alone.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. We'll see. I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical on everything that they've got planned over there. I don't know what's happening here. Jerry
Hey,
Jones.
I told you last year. I'm telling you this year. Maybe you should listen to me.
Player of the Year. All right. Let's move it on here to Coach of the Year. And since Billings is telling me, let's go ahead and leave it with him. Who is your Coach of the Year and why?
I'm going with a little bit of a wild pick here. I'm going with Kevin O'Connell with Vikings. I think that he's just going to shake up that offense a little bit, and they're going to be what they should have been all these years. And I think you're just going to see an explosive offense. Yes, I am saying this about one Kirk Cousins, who I very much from a betting perspective loathe and hate. Also from a Madden perspective, I loathe and hate this man. But no, I think that Kevin O'Connell will be the truth for him.
System quarterback Kirk Cousins and Kevin O'Connell flourishing together, huh? This is Chris Billings' pickup here. Nick, what are your thoughts on Kevin O'Connell winning Coach of the Year?
I mean, they have all the pieces on offense. If they put that together and Kirk Cousins can have a good season, that's not out of the realm.
I could see it. I agree with you. I did see the Vikings got rid of that question mark at guard, Jesse Davis, that Nick was talking about. And I was like, oh, shit. All right. They're like making moves.
Reunited with Brian Flores in Pittsburgh.
Dude, I'm seeing it all. I'll go ahead and say I could see it. I could see it. Coach of the year is really going to be like a toss up. It's always goes to like the surprise team. It never goes to like Bill Belichick and his 0 awards. Andy Reid, I think, has like 1. So I don't really understand it, but I could see that. I could see that narrative. Who do you got winning Coach of the Year, Nick? Tell me why.
I mean, it should be no surprise for me, but I got Mike McDaniel of the Miami Dolphins, first year head coach. I think he uses what he's learned and developed in the Shanahan tree, and he takes and puts his own spin on things. I'm sure there's some plays that he came out with, and Kyle's just like, no, we can't do that. I think with these weapons that he has on offense, you're going to see a lot of excitement out of this team. And if they win, I think they probably win a game in the playoffs. If they have that type of season, I could see Mike McDaniel being up for Coach of the Year.
That would have been my number 2 pick, by the way, was Mike McDaniel, because to kind of just riff off of Bill Parcells, like to Nick's point, like you gotta do the grocery shopping this year. And so it'll be interesting to see what he does with the team that like he essentially built.
I hear you. I could see that. I'm staying in Florida with my pick and picking Doug Peterson of the Jags because I feel like he's going into like the easiest situation possible. Like that, there is no lower bar in the league than after Urban Meyer being the coach. So like if he shows up and that Jags team is like competitive in games, they win like 6 or 7 games, people are gonna be like, yeah, look, Doug Peterson's like a great coach. And it's gonna like dovetail, especially with like the Philadelphia team, how they do, as well as that Jacksonville team, because everyone's gonna be like, oh, should they have gotten rid of this guy? And I think Trevor Lawrence is going to play a lot better with Doug Peterson than I know they overpaid Christian Kirk, and I know how that situation's going, but God, they were so bad last year. They were like unwatchable. They won the first game of the season against the Colts and lost 16 straight after that, like, or some ungodly shit. It was like unbelievably bad. So
It's
yes.
almost like their coach had no idea what he was doing.
Yeah.
Maybe he did. Right? Maybe. Is Urban Meyer going to be on like one of those college kickoff like talking host shows again? Is he getting?
He already has been. He was the last 2 weeks.
My bad, guys.
It's
my bad.
like
watching that.
It was mind blowing. Like they just like kind of casually snuck him in there without announcing it, and I was just like, this guy like sucks.
Yeah.
I don't want to know his opinion.
Yeah, I used to think there was just going to be the 30 for 30 on the Gators, but it may just be the 30 for 30 on Urban Meyer.
Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of Urban Meyers, come back to the booth here. We'll go ahead and go to comeback player of the year here, and I'll let Nick tell us who he's got for comeback player of the year.
For comeback player of the year, I think it's going to be Derrick Henry, because before he went out last year, I think he played like 7-8 games. He was already leading the league with 937 rushing yards and 10 touchdowns. I think that offense has probably got a little worse, and because they've lost all their wide receivers. And I think Tannehill is going to have to rely a lot upon Derrick Henry. And I think he may not lead the league in rushing like he has in years past, because now we have Jonathan Taylor. But I think he will do enough to warrant a comeback player of the year.
Billings, Derrick Henry thoughts?
Yeah, like that's for me, that I felt like that was just too easy of a pick with Derrick Henry. Then also with running backs, like you never know, like he could very well come out, pumped in game 1 and then just get injured again, and suddenly his career's over. Now, knock on wood, I'm not saying that, but that's just, I'm kind of throwing it out there of just, it seems like he's kind of in the twilight of his career. Been one of my favorite players to watch in college and in professional football. But yeah, I think he might be at the end, and that injury might have kind of been one of the nails in the coffin.
I want to agree with Billings, but Derrick Henry's kind of like Tom Brady. I don't want to bet against that son of a gun, because like I know how NFL media works, and that dude had that injury last year, and I have heard nothing. No one has talked about the Derrick Henry injury. No one's even talked about Derrick Henry coming back from that injury. So I'm like, this is like, so obviously he must look like he's back to normal in practice or something, because nobody's even like mentioning it. So I could see where he like gets back to normal. All of a sudden, this beast is getting 200-yard games again, and he runs for like 1,500 yards, and the Titans are like in the playoff discussion again. So I could see that. I could see that a lot. I don't really understand the criteria for comeback player of the year. Like, what he played like 11 games, so he's still like eligible. And then I don't know. I was going with another running back with Saquon Barkley. That fool played like 12 games. I just think the Giants, Daniel Jones is just going to dump the ball off a lot. And I think it's a contract year for Saquon, so he's going to try and ball out so he could either get paid by the Giants, most likely no. Well, he'll probably be playing on another team next season, so I think that's why he balls out. Who do you got, Billions?
I three am going with the running back. I went with Christian McCaffrey. Same thing. Nobody's talking about him this offseason. Like he's been kind of just written off. And I think with like having Baker back then with him it's gonna be huge for him. And I think we're gonna just see a whole new Christian McCaffrey this season.
We haven't seen Christian McCaffrey play very much in the past couple seasons, so that would be nice to see. Get that white running back running. I love to see that in the open field.
Not that there was ever necessarily any urgency to get him back, though. I felt like those teams, like they're kind of cooked before they even got started. And so why even come back to that?
That's true. That's true. I see what you're saying there.
Like they reached out to Cam Newton again, for God's sakes. Like
Matt Rule over there just trying to find a quarterback, making QB transaction after transaction. We'll see how the Baker one works for them. It's pretty cheap deal.
If they don't make the playoffs, I think he's done. I think Matt Rule's out.
He's cooked. What about you, Nick?
I mean, I agree with that. I mean, Baker's another comeback player of the year candidate, so they got a couple of them on that team running the offense.
Yep.
So if I agree with Chris, if they don't make the playoffs either, I think that he is out.
I could see it. He hasn't shown too much. He hasn't been very impressive these past few seasons.
Like, think about that. Think about like, I realize that they're in different parts of their careers, but like they've had Sam Darnold, Cam Newton, now Baker Mayfield on that team, like just some high QB talent that we've seen over the years. And so it's like, you should have been able to do something with one of them.
They've been very disappointing. I don't really understand how they're building that team.
I don't think they do either.
Seems that way. All right, we'll move it forward here to the NFL Offensive Player of the Year award. I picked Trey Lance in this one because I didn't want to pick Trey Lance for MVP pretty much. And that's the only reason I picked him for Offensive Player of the Year. I was like, dude's going to get a lot of running yards. He's going to get a lot of passing yards. I know how the Shanahan scheme works. It's like QB independent.
Oh, so, for Debo, though?
Yeah, I would think in that offense, Debo would be more the Offensive Player of the Year candidate.
Dude, Debo's getting injured this year. Debo's getting injured this year. Guaranteed. Lock that one down. Debo misses at least 4 games this year, maybe 6. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Then who's Trey Lance gonna throw it to?
Brandon Ayuk and George Kittle or Greg Kittle.
He is not getting Offensive Player of the Year with those guys.
That's why he's gonna get Offensive Player of the Year. They're gonna score all these points without Debo. I'm telling you. All right.
Agree to disagree.
There's my crazy pick for Offensive Player of the Year. I'll let one of these gentlemen here, whichever one of you wants to take it, and tell me. Nick, who do you got?
I got Najee Harris of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think with the uncertainty at quarterback, because Trubisky is going to be starting the year, but there's going to be a lot of stuff about Kenny Pickett coming in sometime during the year. But I think that offense is basically going to be predicated on as far as Najee Harris takes them. Because he's going to be running the ball. He's going to be catching passes out of the backfield. I think he's going to be that offense.
Could see that. Najee Harris. I swear to God, I watched that man get hit like 3 times every game last year before he even got to the line of scrimmage. So we'll see. We'll see what they do. I can see that. He would have to have a great year. I could see him getting around 2,000 total yards. What do you got, Billings?
I have Tyreek Hill. I think he's gonna get the Deebo Samuel treatment this year, and like, yeah, people are predicting that he's gonna go off, but I think it's gonna surprise people how much and how much he's used this year.
I agree with that. I could definitely see that because, as I was alluding to before, we're talking about Mike McDaniel. I see him using him all over that offense. He isn't just going to be lining up outside in the slot. He's going to be lining up in the backfield and motion all over the place. And when you get him and Jalen Waddle next to each other, who are you going to cover?
Mm-hmm. And once they get the right tight end for this scheme, like, look out.
Look out. Once they get the right tight end for this scheme, look out. Give me this analysis. You're just going to find fucking George Kittle like on the street in Miami or what?
Oh, watch out for Durham Smythe. He's a third-year tight end, and he fits that George Kittle mold. He is more of a blocking tight end than Mike Gesicki. So just between that 1-2 combo of Mike Gesicki and Durham Smythe, I think they might be able to fill that void.
George Kittle's easier to find than you might think. Just saying.
This guy over here. George Kittles are easy to find. I don't think so. I don't think so. George Kittles, the Kelseys, Mark Andrews, those dudes.
I don't think George Kittle like is in Travis Kelce's like realm. I don't think he's in that Gronk or Kelsey realm, but I think he's definitely like one of the best tight ends out there. But he's a system guy. I'm gonna say it.
He's been benefited by that system.
Oh God, the disrespect. I'm gonna go ahead and edit that clip in of George Kittle carrying that Saints player like 40 yards for that like first down.
So why am I an asshole for saying that? But you're like, Jimmy G, system QB.
This is true. Jimmy G is a system QB.
So why can't George Kittle be a system tight end?
It's the same system.
It's different.
Yeah, like I think they're all just benefiting from that fucking system. Is what it's really coming down to.
I don't think that you can like say that George Kittle is benefiting from the system when he like excels with like yards after the catch. That's not really like something you can like build into the system. They don't really
because the offense creates space for him.
The system is created for yards after the catch.
Yes, he gets the yards after catch because of the separation that he gets.
No, I don't think that's true.
It's completely true. It's completely true. He's just hanging out wide open in the fucking middle with nobody around him. Of course he's getting yards after the catch.
I think you're underestimating the plays that these dudes make when they get the ball in their hands.
I'm not like saying like this guy is like dog shit. Like he's still like a top 3 tight end in the league, but he's not like he is not Gronk or Travis Kelce that like you're basically throwing it to the fucking Empire State Building.
And we'll see. We'll see this.
And they're just gonna basically like King Kong grab it out of the sky and boom, done. Like, I'm sorry, Kittle doesn't do that.
That was pretty good, man. George Kittle's pretty
he is. I'm not denying that, but like he benefits from a system.
All right. But Travis Kelce doesn't benefit from that same system, or what?
I've seen Travis Kelce be good at multiple spots, though.
What other spots has he been good besides the Chiefs, dude?
And I'm confusing him with his brother, so just forget I said that.
His brother that's a center for the Eagles?
Close enough.
Anyways.
That guy, Zach Kelce, out in Philadelphia.
Zach Ertz? That dude plays for the Cardinals now.
Also, no. What I really meant, Travis Kelce, like he's had other people besides Mahomes throwing the ball at him. And he's been amazing.
Yes. I don't know if that's true. No one talked about Kelce when Alex Smith was there. I don't think that was even a conversation. I think that rise coincided with that Mahomes thing. But anyways, as we get off track here, let's go ahead and get back to this here.
I think
I
that
got-
that rise coincided with him winning a Super Bowl, but we'll move on.
All right. We got offensive rookie of the year here. I'm gonna go ahead and leave it to Chris here. He didn't change it. He left Kenny Pickett up there. Tell us what's happening with Kenny Pickett.
I'll only go with Kenny Pickett because I forgot to change my pick. Chris forgot to change his Pickett. Yeah, I just saw after I put that in last night, and me and Tony were talking like, oh yeah, he's third on the QB depth chart. And so basically, yeah, Mike Tomlin's like, fuck you, you're never coming in this season. Credit to Mike Tomlin, like he managed that situation, because if you throw Trubisky out there and Kenny Pickett's number 2, and like any falter from Trubisky, like he starts throwing like picks or a pick 6 or something, like those fans are going to turn on him and they're going to be wanting Kenny Pickett in there. And so at least now there's kind of a buffer where they're like, no, like that guy's third string. Like they're basically going like the Tim Tebow route with the Broncos. Like they tried to kind of just keep a buffer between Tebow and the starting QB position for as long as they could. And eventually he just snaked his way up there and got the starting job. So I'm sure Kenny Pickett will eventually do the same. But yeah, they're credit to Mike Tomlin for trying to manage that. But I still think he somehow gets in there this season. I think probably an injury with Trubisky happens. Then you see Mason Rudolph starting. And so if Mason Rudolph struggles, Kenny Pickett's going to be coming in.
Man, that's quite the roadmap to get there. How many games does Trubisky start for the Steelers? I'm gonna ask Nick.
5.
5. Billings.
I'll say like 9.
9. Okay.
Wait, when's their bye week? Depending on their bye week, if they have an early bye week, I could see it being lower, like that 5 range. But if they have like a bye week like 7 or 8, maybe it goes a couple more.
I think if you get to 5 or 6 games, like Nick is saying, Billings has a chance. I think if that dude starts 12 games, he has a chance at winning that award. But it has to be at least like 12 games, like 3/4 of the season.
My question for you guys is this: do the Steelers have a better or worse offensive line than the Bears?
Hey, man, I don't know. That's close. I think it's going to be worse, to be honest.
Yeah.
Damn, it's pretty bad.
Right. Who do you got for rookie of the year here, Nick?
I think I'm going to go with Christian Watson for the Green Bay Packers, because I think with Aaron Rodgers losing his top 2 weapons, I think that he steps in because Aaron Rodgers just has a way of making people better. So I think the need's there, and I think he will fill that spot.
A rookie quarterback in the meeting room with Aaron Rodgers, though, I don't know about that. Seems like there could be some tension. I went with another rookie wide receiver in Chris Olave down there in New Orleans, trying to help Jameis out. I think he's going to put up pretty good numbers. Jameis does have a pretty good receiving core down there. It's running out of time here. We'll try and get into defensive rookie of the year here. Looks like Chris. Oh, no, Nick and I are on this Aiden Hutchinson train.
Clearly you guys been watching Hard Knocks.
That's right, Nick. Tell him.
We're just trying to get every bit of football we can right now, and he's been there, so it's easy to jump on that bandwagon. He went number 2 pick overall.
And he looks like a Watt brother. He looks like
a
lost Watt brother. Who do you got, Billings?
Got Kayvon Thibodeau. I think that for the same reasons Micah Parsons was able to feast last season, he is going to do the same with the Giants this year. And yeah, so look out for him. Billings defensive scouting report.
NFC East disrespect continues, I see. See if we can squeeze in our number 1 pick in the draft. Damn, we all have different teams. Chris, who's your worst team in the league this year?
Falcons. They just, with no Matt Ryan carried that team on his shoulders for years, and they are going to find out just how much he did. That team is going to be dog shit this season, is going to be my guesstimate.
Nick, who you got?
I don't disagree with Chris, but I wanted to go with someone different, so I took the Seahawks, because I think when your QB battle starts at Geno Smith, Drew Lock, you're in trouble.
Hard to disagree with that. Hard to disagree with that. I took the Bears because I don't know what the heck that team is doing. Like they kind of like Justin Fields. I'm confident they're gonna get like a top pick and they're gonna spend it on a defensive player again, and they're never gonna find out if Justin Fields is good. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. Let's wrap that up.
Sounds about right.
Right. Those are the award picks for the Sports Buds here. We'll close that up before we go ahead and get into our next section here with our division winners, playoff picks, and Super Bowl winners.